Welcome to Sync Mind. All you have to do is close your eyes and listen. For a better experience, please use headphones.
This is also a time for us to move from an unbridled sense of life to a more conscious sense of life. We've been in the process of launching this conscious planet movement, largely focused on ecological concerns. But there is no such thing as conscious anything without conscious human beings. So if we want to create a conscious planet, well, you are not going to go about making the earth or the mountains or the oceans and the rivers conscious. The onus and responsibility of being conscious is upon the human beings. None of the other creatures and none of the other life is in any way harmful to the planet or is in any way in friction with their existence. They all know how to manage themselves. So if you want to upgrade them, in your opinion, probably they're already conscious. No, their life is contained and curtailed by nature. For all of them, nature has drawn two lines within which they live and die. Somewhere nature trusted our intelligence, or nature overrated itself on its own creation and thought human beings can be left free without lines. So we've been making a disaster out of it, both in terms of human experience and what's happening ecologically. This is a good time where being conscious is no more a fanciful thing that I'm talking about it is an absolute must. To be conscious when it becomes necessary for your survival, I would say that could be very good time for humanity. Right now, we are at such a time. So let us not be unrealistic, it's extremely important that right now, in many ways, you must function at your peak. If anyone wants to function at their peak, or if any machine wants to function at its peak, one important thing is, you must remove all the frictious elements. You must remove all the friction within yourself. Taking away the friction within oneself is vital. Generally, handling all the friction so that a machine functions smoothly is called engineering. We are talking in engineering once again. Well, we've been talking for 40 years. What do you think I've been talking about? Well, you thought if your headache went away, your backache went away, and you function a little better in your business and you think you have achieved something. No. The important thing is, if you sit here, in your physical body, in your chemical self, in your energy body, in your mental body, in your emotional structure, there is no friction. Once there is no friction here, now you will see how to transact with the world. Transactions, not need-based transactions. Transactions that could transform. Transactions that could make individual human beings transcend many things. But when there is friction within you, either in the mind or body or your chemistry or your energy, all your transactions will be need-based. When I say need-based, the need may be, fundamental thing is food, sexuality, economic comforts, various other things, social, other kinds of stuff. needs and needs and needs. Something wrong with them? I'm not saying anything wrong with anything. There's just that what could be a grand life is a meager life because it's badly engineered. Though the basic platform that's given to us in the form of natural design is fantastic, how we build it, what material we put into this, and how we arrange things within ourselves will determine whether there is friction or not. Well, if something is swollen in you, whether your ego or your body or your brain, believe me, you will suffer. We have always known this. Or whether it's in the cellular level or molecular structure, anything swollen means you will suffer. Because it is a consequence of friction. Well, you may have many names for this, stress, anxiety, this one, too many names. Essentially, there is friction in your physical structure, in your chemical structure, in your energy structure, in your psychological structure, in your emotional structure, there is friction. Anything that has friction is obviously not a good machine, not an optimal machine. Whole lot of engineering has been done to, let's say if we take the movement of our automobiles, from a locomotive which was going, you've seen the steam locomotive, it went chok chok, chok chok, chok chok, we thought it was great. Now it's going electric car. Lot of friction has been taken out. As friction has been taken out, consumption of whatever fuel it was consuming has gone down significantly. And as this happens, the atmosphere is better. So take the same example for yourself. So, it is time that you engineer yourself into that kind of a machine, that it's largely self-sufficient. There is solar energy, there is water, there is air, and of course there is food. Machine should run smoothly on this. Rest of it is… you can play it the way you want. How much, what, one can decide according to their individual inclinations or by choice, not by compulsion. That's the important thing. So creating a conscious planet means just this. First of all, you have removed the friction from this system. Once friction is gone and you're well engineered, now being conscious is natural because this is the nature of a human being. Let us understand what is the difference between being conscious, because the word consciousness is being used in all kinds of terms. Essentially, what you call as body, your physical self is a boundary. In case you're expanding your boundaries in this lockdown, please don't do that. You must keep the integrity of the boundary. What you call your psychological structure is also a boundary, but a little larger boundary than your physical boundary. Your physical boundary is right here, your psychological boundary may be there. The basis of your psychological boundary is the data that you carry. If you know only about your home, it is within that. If you know little more about your city, then it is that much. If you know something more about the world, it's that much. It depends on what kind of data or how much data you carry. Accordingly, psychological boundaries are set. Essentially, it's memory. And this boundary also enhances or manifests itself in the form of emotion. This is my friend, one kind of emotion. That's a stranger, another kind of emotion. This is a person I love, this is a person I hate, different types of emotions. All this by memory and data. So, body is one kind of boundary, what you call as mind is another kind of boundary, your emotional structure is another kind of boundary. What we refer to as consciousness is that which has no memory in it. That means it has no boundary. It has no body and it has no memory. If these two things are absent, it is boundless. If I'm conscious, will I fly all over the universe? No. If you are absolutely conscious, universe will come to you. You don't have to fly all over the universe. It will come to you, it will stay within you. This is the nature of the existence. So essentially, when we talk about creating a conscious planet or a conscious world or a conscious human being, they're not different words, they're all the same terms. What we're talking about is that you are at your optimal level of function as a life. That means you are a human being means your way of being is not determined by your needs. Your way of being is determined by the nature of creation. The nature of creation is such, everything is enmeshed one into the other. You cannot separate one from the other. You thought one is good, one is bad. You thought weeds are bad and you took it away, and you thought just your flowering plant. Now you're realizing it doesn't work like that. Because life is enmeshed into each other. You cannot separate it because it has grown like this, from the same source in many different ways. If this is not your experience, that means not that you believe this, not that you think about it, but if this is not your living experience, that means you're not really conscious, maybe you're striving. Well, when you're striving to be one with everything, you may eat more than needed, I mean, because you want to include the world. That's one way. Another is, well, you may be on social media ticking everybody. You think by doing this or something else, you are connecting. Nothing like that. Nothing like that will happen. Or you may think, we are all one, we are all one. You will see when you're tested what will happen. It will not work like that. Well, emotions make it more realistic in your experience, but still you will see when things don't go the way you want, it'll go. So being conscious is not a constipated attempt by you to be one with the world. It is just that you engineered this. Your inner engineering is so good, no friction anywhere. Naturally you're conscious. Naturally you're one with everything. It's not a teaching. The very fact that you're breathing and you know you cannot exist without breathing is enough proof that you're one with everything. So no teaching need to happen. It is just that little engineering needs to happen. How to sit properly, breathe properly, how to keep this well. Very, very important. Otherwise, everything is problem. If you have to go to work, it's a big problem. If you have to stay at home, big problem. Money, big problem. No money, big problem. Marriage, big problem. No marriage, big problem. Everything problem. The problem is you. Once you are a problem, everything is a problem, of course, because your life is just a reflection of yourself. But if you are smart, intellectually smart, you survive little better than others and you think you're doing great. But the moment you see somebody who's surviving better than you will not feel so great. So the entire world today has been structured from kindergarten school to everything in terms of who is better than who. So once you set this kind of a foundation, the possibility of human beings conscious or conscious planet is out of question. This is what we are trying to reverse in people's experience and understanding, because even in kindergarten, right there, you were thinking how you are better than somebody else because you are first rank, they are second rank. This problem has been built into human beings, unfortunately, from the very beginning. Even within the homes, it may be happening. So, surviving little better than somebody is not a great deal, because being alive is important. Are you more alive than somebody because you ate more expensive food or you wore more expensive clothes? Are you surviving better really? No. Surviving better means, if you sit here, your body is at ease and it's feeling wonderful, you're surviving great. Well, as you are seeing, as affluence grows in the world, more and more human beings have more and more in their lives, they are not surviving better. A massive number of people on this planet are consuming medicines on a daily basis like never before in the history of humanity. And this is the first generation ever who cannot sit down and eat a full meal. They have to think how much will make them sick. This is the first generation ever. Otherwise, human beings sat down to eat means they ate as much as they could and they were fine. So you are not surviving any better because your economies are bigger, or your belly is bigger, or your bank balance is bigger, you're not surviving better. You need to understand this. Surviving better means if you sit here, your body is comfortable, you can eat what you want, you can sleep well, you can get up well and function well, that means you're surviving well. That means a creature in the wild is surviving way better than you. That's what it means. So you need to understand what is me, what is not me in your experience is a made-up reality that you make it up by identifying with it. This is me, this is mine. Whether it is an object or a person or a thing or a property, including your body and your mind, you only feel it's me when you're identified with it. So if you withdrew your identities, then you dissolve. Not that your body will melt away, it's still sitting here, but because you've withdrawn your identity, it has dissolved from your experience. Now your consciousness, because that is the basis of your existence. Now, can I create consciousness? Can I invest consciousness? This is all rubbish. You can invest energy and make something work better. That's a different matter. Making anything work better, in my you may find this little extreme, even if you create a god, even if you create a deity of the highest possibility, still it's a survival process. You're looking how to survive better, or maybe you want to thrive better. Thriving is also survival. To thrive means you're doing surviving better than others, that's all thriving is. So, even your God, your religion, your whole heaven, heaven means what? You're surviving better than others, though you're dead. Though you die, you survive better than others. That's going to heaven, isn't it? So all this is just survival. If you distance yourself from the instinct of survival, something else will happen to you. Whether you're in an ashram or in a temple or in heaven, you're still trying to survive. When you are not identified with your own survival, why all these brahmacharis are sitting there is, in a way, striving to move away from survival process. If you move away from your survival process, or you can only move away from your survival process when you are no more identified with your physical self, with your psychological self, with your emotional self, with your energy self and your chemical self, you are not identified with these things. That is when you have moved away from your survival process. The moment you move away from your survival process, you are consciousness. There is simply no other way to be. So you think you can do it on a machine? I'm telling you, you cannot even do it on this, it's there, you are on it. but you are right now existing as a pop-up. If you dissolve this bubble, you are consciousness. Not that you become conscious, you are consciousness if you dissolve the bubble. But right now, you are engaged with the bubble so much, and your bubble is prettier than the other bubbles, your bubble is stronger than the other bubbles. In this, it will go on drama, bubble, bubble, bubble. And when two bubbles get together and go, marriage. Please, wherever you are, particularly if you are in India and United States, how conscious you are, how responsible you are, will determine the nature of the world. Please, let's make it happen. Let's make this happen, a better world. A better world is only with a better human being, there is no other way. And a better human being is a consequence of being a responsible human being.